You can. I mean, according to the statistics, the average person in our country, the average family, has saved enough money to send one student to one semester.
Right.
So if you're not thinking about it ahead of time, obviously you're not going to have enough saved, so there's going to have to be alternative means. That's where we specialize. How are you going to pay for college if you haven't saved all the money, which is 98% of the population? What's the best way to pay, and how am I going to make this happen and not go broke in the process?
Sure. And college is they're just getting more and more expensive. It's getting harder for people to pay for.
Without a doubt. I mean, the average now, 6% is average for a college to increase their tuition and fees by on average per year, about double the price of inflation, or the rate of inflation, excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, no question about it, college is getting more expensive. They're cutting back. Schools are announcing left and right, due to the recent economic downturn, that they're, instead of giving out grants this year, they're giving out loans. Instead of giving out scholarships, they're giving out loans.
Right.
So, you know, they consider loans financial aid, which most people don't. Although if you can't borrow, maybe you won't be able to send your student to college. But most people are looking for the free money.
Right, absolutely. Now, is it true that some middle-class and upper-middle-class parents pay close to nothing for their children's college education? How are these people taking advantage of this?
Believe it or not, they understand the system.
Right.
They've gone through the process of understanding what it is the colleges are looking for. What is considered a countable asset, what is considered non-countable, repositioning their assets properly prior to getting involved with the whole system, and there's a 2-year look back. So when you start your base year, which is the high school student's junior year, that begins the year that the colleges and the government can look at what you have saved and what you make. If you go into this knowing that possibly you're going to get a big bonus and you can defer that bonus, or possibly you're going to be in a situation where you can reposition an asset prior to filing for financial aid, this could make a tremendous difference.
Now tell me about the repositioning of assets and how assets come into play. You got the family contribution. Talk a little bit about what's expected from the parents and with their money.
Well, repositioning assets is sort of the financial shell game. You're basically taking an asset that...
Three-card Monty.
Possibly the same scenario. You're looking at just taking an asset that is in a countable situation and making it uncountable. It's different for every family. I wish I could just say, here's what you do and here's how easy it is. But depending on where their assets are held, whether they're liquid or illiquid, whether or not it's appropriate and suitable to move those investments, if they're not meant for something else or earmarked for something else, you can do it. One of the things I think that your listeners would love to know is that if you're saving money in your student's name, the chances are it's going to hurt you 4 times more in the financial aid formula than if you weren't. If you were saving money in your own name.
So if you're putting money aside for little Johnny's college education under little Johnny's name, it is not advantageous.
Absolutely not. I mean, I should back up, okay? You can't just unilaterally say it's not advantageous, because there are tax benefits to that.
Okay.
There are tax benefits to 529 plans. There are tax benefits to UGMA and UTMA accounts. However, when it comes to qualifying for need-based financial aid, a whole different story. Now they're going to look at the student's assets along with the parent's assets. The parent's assets count in the formula at about 6%. So if you have $100,000 saved, they take 6% of that, or $6,000, and reduce your financial aid by that much. And they also give parents what is referred to as an asset protection allowance. They're allowed to have some money before it starts to count, and it's usually $1,000 for each year they've been on the planet for the older parent. So if the older parent is 42 years old, they're allowed to keep $42,000 in their checking or savings account without it counting against them. With a student, starts at $1.
Right.
No asset protection allowance, and they hit you at 20% in the financial aid formula.
Holy mackerel.
4 times higher.
So definitely, when you're saving up for college, keep it under your own name.
At the absolute minimum.
Right.
At the absolute minimum. What we suggest many times is, if you're going to save in a vehicle that could be earmarked for retirement, because retirement assets are considered outside the financial aid formula. So there's numerous different assets that qualify as retirement assets other than traditional assets like IRAs, 401ks, pensions, and things of that nature. You need something that's a little bit more liquid, that you can get at without being penalized or taxed heavily.
So let me ask you then, do they count against you or do they not, your IRAs, your Roth
They
IRAs?
do not.
They do not?
They do not. The year you put them in, so in other words, if you're maxing out your plan and you're putting $15,500 a year into your 401k plan, the year it goes in, they're going to count it as income and count it against you. It's going to appear.
Right.
Once it's in, it doesn't count
Year
anymore.
one, it hits you.
Right.
But after that, it just sit back and watch it.
That's right.
All right.
So the IRA is a good place to keep money, unless you need it, of course, to pay for college. You don't want to put it in your IRA.
Absolutely. What are some of the misconceptions that some parents have in this whole process?
People are unrealistic, really, about scholarships. Typically, we do a lot of high school workshops. We do a lot of workshops at various corporations. They use this as a work-life benefit. And one of the things that we find when we're educating parents is they typically think their student is going to be eligible for more free money, scholarship money. Everyone thinks their student is a terrific athlete. Here I am saying this. I'm walking around with an article from the Foxborough Reporter. My daughter had a really good tennis match and made 4 or 5 paragraphs in the Reporter. So
Excellent.
I'm all excited about it.
Oh, good for you.
So, we all think.
The next Maria Sharapova, of course.
Maybe,
she deserves a huge scholarship,
Chelsea, you did good. You really did. But the truth.
What town did she beat?
We beat Sharon.
I love it when we beat Sharon. I love it when we beat Sharon.
And then, you know what? They hadn't beaten him for 3 years.
Yeah, that's
since
their
we're on
thing.
the subject.
Is tennis.
Yeah.
That's their thing is tennis.
So
Sharon.
it was good, and hers was the rubber match. So it was awesome to watch.
Victory for Foxborough. I love it.
Yes.
But parents always think, my son is LeBron James.
Yes.
He's going to play basketball.
Yeah.
They're going to pay for him. But then the reality hits.
And the reality hits, and here's how I put it to them. We're in a room, usually in a high school library or a corporate room in a corporation, and we say, okay, we've got 58 people in this room. How many people in this room think their student is going to receive a good portion of the money they get for college from a scholarship? And all the hands go up, except maybe 3 or 4. And I say, okay, now picture this room with 10,000 people in it. Here's the reality. One person out of that 10,000 will receive a full ride scholarship.
Right.
That's the statistic.
That's the stats. You've broken it down. Wow. So people always, they think that their kid is the second coming, right?
Yeah. Well, that and academically. There's academic awards for merit. There's, for artistic talents. Obviously for sports.
There's a left-handed scholarship out there.
Blue Eye Scholarship. There's every scholarship you can imagine. And we tried to make the parents understand that the colleges, especially the private colleges, do offer a large percentage of free money. That's where you're going to get your scholarship money. Don't necessarily go outside turning every stone trying to find scholarships from outside companies or organizations, because many times the colleges will take that money and
hold it against you, right?
Reduce your financial aid that they were going to give you anyway. So unless you're qualifying for absolutely no financial aid, it's a good idea just to let the colleges come back with their program first.
Wow, that's I've never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So forget about the scholarships. In the long run, it's cool to get one, sure, but it hurts you in the long run.
Well, we have parents. They come in, Chris. They have 40 million applications to XYZ, the YMCA, the Kiwanis Club, and everywhere else, and they've got the kid writing 16 essays to send out to all these different places, and then they find out the $750 scholarship that they received, or the $1,500 scholarship that they received, is just going to be taken right off the financial aid they would have received from the college anyway.
It's just going to hurt their bottom line when
Right.
it comes down to
Right.
it. So that's interesting right there. I don't think you'll ever hear it quite like that. A straight shooter says, forget about the scholarships. Let your kid enjoy his downtime. Doesn't have to write 100 essays.
Well, I didn't exactly say that, but it was close to that.
Talking with Murray Miller. He's a college planning advisor. The organization is College Planning Strategies. The phone number, write this down, 1-800-863-9440. Once again, 800-863-9440. Check out the website, ourcollegeplan.com. What can they see on the website, Murray?
Well, on the website, you're going to be able to find out a little bit about our company, the expertise that we have, what type of plans we put together. We also present a lot of the problems that you're going to run into. Many times on the website, people find out, well, I didn't even realize I was facing that challenge until you actually explained it. So the website gives a good description of the things that they're going to go through, and then talks a little bit about what we do and how we put together customized plans with our different programs.
That's great. Do you host the seminars and all of this stuff as well?
Yeah, we have a pretty powerful staff. We have a lot of expertise at our office. We're a small company. We've got 2 offices, one here in the Boston area in Medway, Mass., and we have one on the West Coast out in Irvine, California.
Right, that's pretty cool. And now there's talk about expanding coast to coast, sea to shining sea, manifest destiny, ourcollegeplanninggroup.com. Is that right?
Yes, we are actually just getting ready to launch. On August 1st, we're going to be launching a product called the Smart Track Toolkit. SmartTrackToolkit.com is going to be the website, and that product is going to be launched to help parents that are do-it-yourselfers get through the entire college planning process with an online tutorial, workshops, software to help them get through the whole financial aid application process. We've taken about 50 years of combined experience and the tools that we use every day as professional college planners and put them into a website. And we're, making it available at a fraction what one might pay for the services of a college planning firm.
Right. What is the ideal time for a parent to get a hold of you and start the process? When do you like to meet the kids?
The sweet spot. The sweet spot is usually freshman, sophomore year of high school because we're before the base year where everything starts to count.
Right.
So we market real hard to those freshman and sophomore parents. But typically, if I had to look across the boards and see who hires us every year, it's probably 50-50 between the underclassmen and the upperclassmen.
Right.
We do get hired by a lot of juniors and senior parents as well.
Now, if someone's child is a senior,
yes,
and they haven't put any work into the process,
yes,
how difficult is that for you?
It's extremely difficult. The staff has to pull their hair out and get a lot of gray hairs over trying to meet the deadlines.
Yeah.
It's very deadline driven in the senior year, as you can imagine. They're not putting their best foot forward. Any parent that waits that long, you're flirting with disaster. You don't want to wait until the senior year. Junior year is really the absolute last time you want to wait.
Absolutely. And in freshman year, you got to stress to the kids, what? Get your grades, get your extracurricular activities.
Get ready for high school. Get
Right.
ready to bear down, make things happen. It's a very, very competitive environment out there trying to get into a good college, so you need to put your best foot forward starting day one.
And a lot of colleges will look at your extracurricular activities and
They
all
will.
of this, so you
They
got to
will.
start building that resume.
Without a doubt. And they call it a brag sheet now.
Yeah,
We
okay.
call it a resume.
Okay.
But yes, you're absolutely right. Start building that brag sheet now. As a matter of fact, we have a document that we give to all of our parents that come to our free high school workshops, and it teaches them all the things that they need to do each year and start to track their progress.
Very cool. More on college planning with Murray Miller from OurCollegePlan.com after these words.